What's going on, guys? Someone is here, and can you believe we're already halfway through 2026? Yeah, it's true what they say when they feel like the older you get, the time really does fly by. But that's a discussion for another day. That's not what we're talking about since we all have for the year. I'm basically going to what I've been doing for the last few years and talk about what are my favorite movies to come out this year so far. The films of 2026 I have enjoyed the most throughout the year. Again, it's going to be similar. One was talking about the 10 movies that they felt great, the movies I enjoyed the most this year, and they give a hand to mind of what are my favorite ones and which ones I enjoyed the most. It's why it's fun for you to do to talk about my favorites like halfway through the year. And I'll be honest, it actually has been a really good year of films so far, honestly. Like, there's definitely whole stuff he does, because I think every year it's always going to have those duds, unfortunately. And of course, there are definitely some disappointments and all that stuff, but in terms of the quality, honestly, there have been a lot of great ones to where this is probably the first time in a long, probably my one of the few times, honestly, where I'm debating my number one, honestly. Like, even a villain, I'm still debating which one's actually going to be my number one, honestly. Because usually, because since I've been doing this since 2015, honestly, usually I see one movie and it ends up staying my favorite number one. I'll say 2022 is probably the only exception, but because I kind of changed the last minute after we watched the last Witch multiple times. But usually, no, the other years I've been doing YouTube and doing best lists, honestly, usually there's one movie I would see, then that, like maybe that still gonna happen second half of the year, but I, be right. I will even then I will still always have it for number one. So it's like, I don't even have a movie that I would say interesting. But basically, I'm still debating on what's my number one actually, even as I'm filming this. So, but I still hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed me discussing my 10 favorite movies to come out in 2004. And of course, I would love to know what are your favorite movies to come out in the year so far. And I'll also give a channel update on pretty much a lot of the videos that you can expect going forward and all the content I'm working on. So I'll do that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. All being said, let's get to what I think are my 10 favorite movies. And if I film this, I think I've seen like 84 movies actually, which is I know I always see a lot of movies, so. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. Let me know your favorites down below in the comment section. So, almost let's get to what I think of my 10 favorite movies I saw in the year of 2026 so far. And there definitely were a lot of debates between my number 10, honestly. Like, I definitely had a lot of movies that are up there. Like, we got debate between either Navage, the band that showed the movie, Primate, They Will Kill You, and even the drama. But in the end, number 10, I decided to go with No More, which is basically the latest Bob Odenkirk action movie. And I'm really liking this renaissance of Bob Odenkirk delivering these like badass action movies because he's always a fantastic actor, but him delivering these amazing action set pieces is just so wonderful to witness. Also with the Nobody movies, honestly, and how I enjoyed Nobody 2 probably more than most people. And No More I thought was another great film, honestly. Again, it's not one that's was very simple at first. Once it kicks into the action, it's actually a lot more brutal than you actually expected. Hell, I enjoyed the world building a little more than I expected, and how invested I was in the actual story, even if it's nothing that we haven't seen before. But it's one if it was one just gore and action and just badass set pieces. No More is definitely one to check out. I feel like it's one of the movies that's going to go more on the underrated category of films that came out this year. And that's unfortunate because I think No More is definitely one that's worth checking out. And now coming in at number 9, we have one of the most surprising movies came out this year, and that is Masters of the Universe. Yeah, honestly, I was not expecting to enjoy Masters of the Universe as much as I have, but here we are. And it's definitely unfortunate that was really fun and entertaining. It's unfortunate not doing so well at the box office, unfortunately. But again, it's pretty unfortunate. Because this is really a blast from beginning to end. It's one of the most fun movies I saw throughout 2020. Sorry. One of the more fun movies I've seen throughout the year. And I think I enjoy most about it is that it does keep with the tone of the original show. It doesn't try to do anything different, honestly. It doesn't try to do anything. Which, well, in some ways, in the best thing. This is really one of those cases. It's like, it's actually a good thing, actually, because, that show's like very cheesy and over the top and all that stuff. Again, I've not seen the show in years, but that's why I remember it being, correct me if I'm wrong. But it does keep with that tone, honestly, and it never takes itself too seriously. It has fun with its characters with the action and fun tone. Trying to do any like edgy or anything like that, which is like, sometimes I appreciate that. Which, again, the performances are great, even Jared Leto, who unfortunately steals the show. Honestly, the movie is very well directed, has some pretty fun moments, and just put a big grin on my face throughout. Fortunately, we're not getting a sequel to it, but hey, I'm happy I at least enjoyed it at least. And now coming in number 8, we get to the one of two Pixar movies that came out this year. Unfortunately, Toy Story 5 did not actually make this list, honestly, because I did enjoy the movie, obviously. I think it's a good movie. It's fortunate week as it does have issues that prevent it from obviously being in the top 10, but definitely there are other movie hoppers did manage to make the actual top 10. Actually, Hot Pie is already coming at the end of the year, but as of right now, I won't see, and as I'm filming right now, I've only seen, as I'm filming this right now, I have only seen the movie once, but it does retain a lot of the charm that you expect from a Pixar movie with the heartwarming moments, the fun characters, the fun concept, and just something that just warms your heart and puts a big grin on your face. Again, this could be one I could appreciate more when I do end up deciding to watch it, so we'll see how it goes. And now, number 7, we get to the most underrated film to come out this year so far, at least in my opinion, and that is Power Ballad. A film I wasn't expecting to really enjoy much as I have, but here we are. Again, it's not one of those like very sympathizing movies that's mostly elevated by the writing and elevated by the two leads in Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas. Again, basically a movie where basically Nick Jonas has to basically like stealing a song that Paul Rudd wrote, honestly, and then he ends up becoming famous about it, and then Paul Rudd basically tries to prove that he was the one that wrote it. Again, it's a very simple movie, a little more straightforward, but it does a good job of keeping the comedy forward and the heart as well. It's not like a buddy romance movie as you would think it was would be honestly, which I think all of us they kind of felt that a little bit. We think it was going to be with Paul, with the being like Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas, but no, it ended up being a little more heartwarming. Even go to a couple of directions I was not expecting actually. Which I was definitely surprised on. So the song that actually compared to actually is very catchy. And Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas have great chemistry, and they all do great with their roles in general. And just a very charming movie that has a lot of heart to it. Yeah, it's very simple, but it works. And now we get to the top 6. And generally, my top 6 are pretty definitive, honestly. These are the pretty definitive movies that are. Some of my favorites are like going to be the movies that are going to be still on my top 20 by the end of the year, unless we get like banger after banger after banger, which we'll see how that goes. But coming in number 6, we actually have 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which of course is the sequel to 20 Years Later that came out last year. Which I don't want people to actually think that movie was great, but I think Bone Temple is fantastic, and generally this might be in the debate being the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, still in debate honestly, yeah, but it's definitely up there for sure. Actually, it definitely goes in an interesting direction. Definitely answers a lot interesting questions that were answered from the last movie. Like, okay, and it delivers with some great performances, a fantastic villain performance, as well as really interesting characters, some really frightening sequences. And I have rewatched the movie, and honestly, it's gotten better on probably watch. And the whole worlding itself, honestly, and what they explored here was pretty interesting. It's fortunate that I don't think we're ever going to get like the actual third movie for the fortunate because of the fortunate, unfortunate, not so great success in the box office. Which honestly, I really hope it do. Honestly, I really want to see how the story ends. And now we get to my number 5, which is my thought was going to be my favorite comedy of the year, but one movie actually topped it, but it's still fantastic and it's good look, have fun, don't die. The Elector's Gore Babisky movie, and it's definitely one of his best for sure. A movie that, in my opinion, is paced pretty well, has fantastic performances from his characters, has really interesting concept, and honestly, it's very real and scary that this might actually be a thing that could happen, actually. And the movie overall is just very consistent and hilarious. It's like I feel like it's weird. I feel like that scary movie probably should be honestly a movie that really just offends honestly, a movie that really delivers with the comedy aspect and delivers and not just like reference after reference just for the sake of it, or doesn't really have any funny moments, or doesn't actually offend, or doesn't actually go there. That movie goes there. And when you make a school shooting funny, when it's like a school shooting actually hilarious, like that's where you deliver good comedy. Sorry, but yeah, it's really well paced, and the comedy's hilarious. Again, just put a big grin on my face throughout. Again, it's that movie I can see still being on my best list by the end of the year. And now coming in number 4, we actually got my new favorite movie of January, because originally 20 Years Later was my favorite film of January. But after we watched this movie a couple times, I decided to put it on number 4, and that is Send Help, which is, of course, the latest Sam Raimi movie, and he is back. Like, this is a perfect Sam Raimi movie. It lives on the comedy aspect, but also on the horror aspect as well. I mean, you got Rachel McAdams and of Grace delivering like some of their best performances, in my opinion. I mean, Rachel Adams being someone that's very like shy and all that stuff, and you have to believe that someone like her actually would be like annoying and all that stuff, and then actually do a great job at that. And took this also being like the asshole boss character, but then when it gets straight on island, the roles are basically reversed. And at least it's some very shocking moments that you're like, whoa, I can't believe they actually went there. And both of them do have great chemistry with each other, not in a romantic way, but also in just a character way, and they both actually grow a lot throughout the movie, and the movie itself just goes through a lot of interesting directions that you wouldn't expect. Like I say, it's basically the perfect Sam Raimi movie. It shows what makes him work so well as a director. And now we have reached the top three. And like I said before, it was pretty difficult to choose which one I thought is my favorite. But, like it's but these three movies are just incredible, masterful movies that are part of the best of dramas of the decade, and movies I consider myself really just continue to appreciate and love from the majority of the rest of the year, and probably for the rest of the decade in general. Like two of movies that are probably like going to be on one's best list, movies that are just very beloved, and one's actually another very underrated movie that I adored. So it was definitely debated. If you like, this could change by the end of the year. This definitely could change. Honestly, this is just how I'm right now. So I really debated, but in the end, I decided that my number three is going to be Project Hail Mary, which as you can see here, I actually have the book to the Project Hail Mary. Actually, I actually read a little bit honestly. Then enjoy it. I definitely wanted to try more reading honestly, so I'll let you know how I feel about what book actually when I do finish it. But the movie itself is fantastic. It's no one I feel like it's going to be on everyone's best list. It's a very simple movie, but a very charming movie. Again, it is directed by Phil and Chris Miller, who are master classes of not only having like hilarious, charming moments, but very emotional ones as well. They always find that incredible balance, honestly. How they do it. They proved that with the Jump Street and the Spider-Verse movies, and the Lego movie, and they continue to prove that here. Honestly, and it's a film that just put a big grin on my face throughout, and it just has some of the most emotional moments that come out this year. And it's really one of the best sci-fi movies to come out this decade in general. And it definitely makes more sense to watch Phil Lord Christmas do with their works. And the so good too is how great of directors they are. And now number two, at number two, we get to another underrated movie to come out in 2026. Again, I really debate between my number two and number one, honestly. I really debate it. It's like a racing hand margin. But as right now, as our number two is going to be Over Your Dead Body, which you guys don't know the movie came out, honestly. Like, I would say it changed that because this is probably my favorite comedy of the decade. I am dead serious. I am dead serious, honestly. Yeah, I still have not seen only seen it once, honestly, but this was the most laughing movie in quite a while. Like, it's one of the most consistently hilarious movies ever I've seen in quite a long time, actually. Again, this stars like Jason Segel and Samara Weaving. It's directed by the one I forget the directed by now. He's the one of the people involved with the Lonely Island, if I remember correctly. Like same one that did the Pop Star movie, which is also one of my all-time favorite comedies. And it's basically like a married couple that just go vacation and tries to kill each other, and it ends up going a lot more different direction than that. Like I would say, just recommend not knowing much about it. Like I did, and I walked down this movie just laughing my ass off throughout so much runtime, while still having that charm and emotion that you would expect a movie like this to have. It really goes in a lot of directions. Like the second half especially goes in directions that, oh, I really was not expecting this at all. And we'll talk about, and of course, Jason Segel and Small Weaver have incredible chemistry. And who knew Small Weaver could be good at comedies, honestly. And it's always good to see Jason Segel do great stuff. I love Jason Segel. Yeah, it really goes out. It's that one really goes out there with his comedy at times, and it just like I said, it's very consistently hilarious throughout. Just for the big movies throughout, and I would definitely recommend checking out if you definitely want a good laugh. Again, it's possibly might be my favorite comedy that came out that decade. Honestly, again, I am dead serious on that. But after rolling it over, I decided that my number one favorite movie of 2026 so far, my favorite movie that came out this year is Obsession. Which, again, I don't think I need to talk about Obsession. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we all know about this movie. We all know how just insane this movie really is, honestly. Like it's pretty much the most talked about horror movie in the last like few years, honestly, and for good reason. Was because it's a movie that just kind of came out and came like a big success at the box office. I think it's probably like the one of the highest grossing horror movies like ever, which again is putting it saying actually if you really think about it. But yeah, such and yeah, I think such as wood honestly. And obviously being number one, obviously I think it is honestly. This movie just gets better the more you think about it. Again, it's a very simple movie about that guy who makes a wish on this one wish Lilo, and he basically wishes his crush think he loves him more than anything in the world. And it's basically one of those like be careful when you wish kind of things. But he ends up going in directions that you would not expect. He ends up going in different ways. You're like, okay, okay, but in a good way. It basically like what horror movies basically should be, honestly. Find that y'all got incredible performances out, and they say how the Indie Battery is probably going to be an iconic horror, one of the next like big actors after this movie, considering her performance. Even the main actor on, she does a great job as well. Even the other performances are great. And she asks some like good interesting questions about certain aspects, like who's really in the wrong, who's really right. It has some moments that just get under your skin, but in the best possible way. Again, under your skin in the best possible way. I feel like horror movies really one of the ways horror movies really should do. It goes in some three directions later on, honestly, and has one of those like, what the hell endings I've seen the horror movie for a while. It just has everything you want from a horror movie, and as someone who also loves horror movies, this is destined to be a horror classic. It's definitely one of those once left horror movies that, yeah, it's like going to be a one of the next like big horror classics, and for good reason. And it really makes me excited what director Curry Baker does next. Honestly, and I'm really like dead along on what he does next after this. So yeah, for me, Exception Obsession is my personal favorite movie to come out this year so far. Again, it was definitely debated between my other two movies, but if I say one movie impacted me the most throughout the year, it was definitely Obsession. So right now, it is my favorite movie to come out this year. Again, could possibly change, could not. We'll see how it goes. I know there are a lot of great movies that come out this year, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this movie really deserves all the love that it has received. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed me discussing my 10 favorite movies that come out in 2026. I would love to know down in the comments, like I said, what are your thoughts? What are your favorite movies that come out this year so far? And I do plan on doing some shorts when we'll talk about my most disappointing, my most surprising, my most underrated, and the worst films I saw this year so far. So stay tuned, those coming very soon as well. As for updates, honestly, there's not really much to really update, honestly. Like, I'm still working for jobs at the moment, or hopefully that should come soon, or if I should get probably not a job that should, allowances or whatever that goes. But in terms of that, I'm pretty much gonna try to do, at least if I'm gonna work on content, keep on YouTube, I always want content that like, I know what I want to do, and now like, I feel like I have to do like literally everything, because that's, and I don't want, because I don't want to end up burning myself out, obviously, so. I'm sorry. Sometimes I talk too fast sometimes, and yeah. But I'm not gonna talk about what's going on in my personal life at the moment, honestly. But all I'm gonna say is that after next month, honestly, things should be a little more smooth sailing. I think things kind of starting to get smooth sailing, honestly. So it's just still adjusting to a lot, honestly, especially with dealing with the heat, honestly. But again, I'm not gonna get the details all now, honestly. I think I'll also that for another day. But overall, I think I'm in a better, mostly better place. It's kind of trying to work on better myself, honestly. Like trying to get more physical and all that stuff. Trying not to work on like other bad habits I've been meaning to work on. It's just I've been either working so much or I've just been focusing on a lot of other stuff that I just haven't had the energy or time to do so. If that makes any sense, honestly. But I'm still gonna basically do what I'm doing, honestly, because I do enjoy. Like generally, I do enjoy what I do, honestly, and I definitely want to keep doing YouTube as much as I'm able to. I'm pretty much gonna most of the same content I'm doing honestly. So I'm like I said, I'm gonna try to focus more on music. Where I'll be uploading some of my singing ukulele covers, my caregivers on shorts and everything like that. And you guys seem to enjoy that honestly with the views and the comments honestly. So I'm definitely gonna do that a lot more honestly. And I do plan to do some other music content where mostly really just gonna be like me posting karaoke videos. I'm gonna try to post the original song material as well. And just overall, like maybe do some album rankings, like and have my favorite songs from like certain artists as well. I think my next, as I'm feeling, my next one's going to be on Olivia Rodrigo, so you can see that can we at some point. Don't know if I had it before or after I started filming this, but I definitely plan on working on talking about my favorite songs from Olivia Rodrigo. That'd be the first one we're going to do. Uh, honestly, and I do plan to do some random some of all music, so I do enjoy doing that. And also with Big Brother coming very soon, I'm going to try and do some Big Brother content as well. Again, my first one going to be on top of my some of the first gameplay moments, obviously, and then maybe top of my favorite, doing similar way to Survivor, top of my favorite beats from certain portions of Big Brother. So I'm planning to do that at some point. And just doing my general D5 short content, honestly. Like I mentioned, I did up the first people I'm up, so top about five of my most frustrating moments of gameplay in Big Brother. Yeah, I might make that a regular thing when it comes to Big Brother. I might probably be sitting with Survivor as well. And I'm planning just bring five videos as well about five certain aspects of certain things like game characters, sequels, rising, disappointing, all that stuff, and all that stuff. Because it'll be something I'll be doing and I can also get out for you as well, and something I do enjoy doing. And of course, I'll still post my movie reviews. Obviously, I'm still obviously going to post like my and the month rankings and all that stuff. So we'll see how that goes. And I do plan to do a couple also like I also do plan on doing a couple of TV and video game catch up videos at some point. But I'm going to like catch you guys on a lot of the shows and the games I've been playing and watching throughout the year. There I'm guaranteed that much to do reviews on those honestly because of how much I'm working. They just don't have the energy sometimes, so you can definitely expect those coming your way pretty soon. But I'm going to catch you up on some of the shows I've watched throughout the year and some of the games I play throughout the year. Now that I follow also have it here and obviously I've been playing a shit ton of games obviously, so I do plan on getting that out pretty soon as well. And maybe some other kind of random rankings I do. Like eventually, once I get a controller, I do plan on playing through once again playing through the entirety of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Elite Chronicles, and I do plan on doing a video of rank every chapter of that as well. And I'm also going to do a lot more episode rankings since I really do enjoy doing those videos. Actually, I really enjoy doing a lot of episode rankings. But also, I go for the show and just rank every episode by season and all that stuff. Or some feature videos I'll go for just for rank just like top, bottom to top and all that stuff. So I definitely plan to do that at some point. Again, as I'm filming this, as I am filming this, I got out my season one video on Beat Time Rush, and I do plan to upload the ones for the next couple of weeks. Not sure what I'm gonna do after that one, so I think I might do like a poll on see which one I'm gonna see, but basically here are the shows I'm going to plan on working on do honestly. Amphibia, Ned's Classified, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I think I had season one filmed actually, but I never actually got around to finishing or editing it. I think it's still on my old computer. I'm also going to do one where I rank every duel from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Champ Lazlo, Flapjack, Harley Quinn, Two and a Half Men, The Big Bang Theory, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Everybody Hates Chris. And maybe a few other sitcoms as well. Honestly, but I do enjoy doing those videos, and as I do on the Friends at some point as well, where I'm going to like rank every episode of that show as well. Yeah, again, considering obviously how long those shows are, those might take a bit longer, honestly, but I really do enjoy doing those videos, so. And like I said, so basically, that's just the content that you can expect, honestly, and I'm going to try to work in a way where I'm like, not overloading myself with content, not like, wanting like so much content at once, just focus on like certain ones to focus on at once, and just see how it goes. This is just obviously the way where I don't like overwhelm myself with content, and then obviously I don't like stress out if I don't do any content and all that stuff. As again, I still want to focus on trying to have more of a life outside of YouTube and trying to not focus so much on YouTube and have stuff to do that's not just YouTube stuff. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm focused on the last couple of years. Honestly, it's like always stuff always comes back. But at least in this way, honestly, I can probably just focus on this and that and just see where it goes. But I hope you enjoyed the awful all the people that came in for the support as well. But I'm also obviously planning on having a channel training very soon. Oh, and eventually one day, I'm going to try to get back into streaming as well. Don't know when exactly that's going to happen, but I'm going to plan on getting back to streaming at some point down the road. Again, don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but I do want to do that at some point. But if I do, it's going to be like mostly just chatting streams, karaoke streams, singing streams, gig streams, and karaoke music streams in general. And my first one's probably going to be like a Q&A stream. I'll be playing some Cartoon Flash games as well. Again, don't know exactly when that's going to happen because again, timing's still a bitch right now. But I'll definitely keep you guys know when I'm going to do that. I'll definitely guys know my community tab on still on my Instagram, on my social medias, which are all the dumb Christian and whatnot. Do that, so you guys can stay tuned with that. I am still in one world from Zero One Productions. I will see you next time as always. Stay cool about it and here's a little sprinkle of positivity your way. Peace.